Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rambling Through History. My name is Jacob. So happy to have you here. And today we're going to be talking about the mythic beginning of one of the most powerful empires to ever exist, the myth of Rome. Today, historians and people around the world do not know how Rome was founded, but we do have plenty of surviving myths and legends that the Romans used to detail their founding. The Romans simply could have been people in Italy, they could have been people who were around and just settled there. They could have been from outside of Italy, places like Spain, Greece, Turkey, Egypt. Hell, they could have been for space for all we know. But what we do know is that they had an interesting story to tell us of how Rome was founded. But before we go into the myth itself, we need to look at how, in all actuality, the myth of Romulus and Remus didn't originate until sometime in the 4th century BC, and the exact date of the founding was set by the Roman scholar Marcus Varro in the 1st century BC. This makes it a lot harder for historians today to see if these myths come from some kind of truth, because these myths were set out in such a late stage of the Roman Republic. But let us continue on with what we do know of the myth that we were told. According to Varro, Romulus and Remus were the sons of Rhea Silva, the daughter of King Numitor of Abla Longa. Abla Longa was a mythical city located in the Albion Hills, southeast of what would become Rome, and before the birth of the twins, Numitor was deposed by his younger brother, Amulus, who forced Rhea to become a Vestal virgin so that she could not give birth to any rival claimants to the throne. However, during this time, Rhea was impregnated by the war god Mars, and after that she gave birth to Romulus and Remus, but King Amulus ordered the infants to be drowned in the Tiber River. It was said that the soldiers that were sent to drown the children just set them on the bank, and the water ended up just moving them at the foot of a hill, which was later known as Palpatine Hill. This was the point of a story where a she-wolf appears and nursed them until a shepherd named Faustulus raised them as his own. After being raised by Faustulus and his wife, the twins became leaders of a young band of shepherd warriors, and once they learned of their true identity and where they came from, they attacked Abla Longa, killed the wicked king, and restored their grandfather to the throne. The twins then decided to found a town on the site where they had been saved. But soon after, they became involved in a petty quarrel where Remus was slain by his brother Romulus. Now, there are two stories of why Romulus killed his brother. The first one was that there was a line set between the brothers which gave a part of the city to each brother, and Remus jumped over that line and Romulus killed him. Now, the second part was that they were trying to decide who would rule the city and who the city would be named after, in which they both went on 2 hills and waited for birds, which was the sign of gods that would come to them. Now, more birds came to one of the brothers, but some birds came a lot faster to the other brother, so both of their followers began to argue about which was a greater sign from the gods. This ended up with Romulus killing his brother Remus, and thus the eternal city would be named Rome after Romulus. Even with Romulus in control of Rome, he could not find anyone to live in their city, so he offered asylum to fugitives and exiles around Italy. But even with this, Rome still lacked a great amount of women to secure their future, so Romulus devised a plan. He invited the neighboring Sabines to a festival where they kidnapped their women and war ensued, but the Sabine women intervened to prevent the Sabine men from seizing Rome. This would later be called the Rape of the Sabine Women. Even with this, though, a peace treaty was drawn up and the communities merged under the joint rule of Romulus and the Sabine king, Titus. But with Titus's early death, perhaps perpetrated by Romulus, this left the Roman as the sole king again, and after a long rule, Romulus too died under suspicious circumstances. But many Romans believed in a myth that he changed into a god, and he was worshipped as a deity named Quirinus. After Romulus, there were 6 more kings of Rome. The last 3 were believed to be Etruscans from the north, and around 509 BC, the Roman Republic was established. This, though, was not the only Roman myth of their mysterious arrival to Italy, one of which tells how the mythical Trojan Aeneas founded Latium and started a dynasty that would supposedly lead to the birth of Romulus and Remus several centuries later. In the Iliad, an epic Greek poem composed by Homer in the 8th century BC, Aeneas was the only major Trojan hero to survive the Greek destruction of Troy. A passage told of how he and his descendants would rule the Trojans, but since there was no record of any such dynasty in Troy, Greek scholars proposed that Aeneas and his followers relocated. And in the 5th century BC, a few Greek historians speculated that Aeneas settled at Rome, which was still a small city-state. In the 4th century BC, Rome began to expand within the Italian peninsula, and Romans, coming into greater contact with the Greeks, embraced the suggestion that Aeneas had a role in the foundation of their great city. And in the 1st century BC, the Roman poet Virgil developed the Aeneas myth in his epic poem, the Aeneid, which told of Aeneas' journey to Rome. Augustus, the first Roman emperor and emperor during Virgil's time, and Julius Caesar, his great-uncle and predecessor as Roman ruler, were said to be descended from Aeneas. As we see, the Romans had a wonderful and very creative myths of their foundation, but it's very interesting to me to look at how they see their foundation started from the bottom of 2 lonely children that were left to die on the banks of the Tiber River. What was even more interesting is that the Romans also allowed their foundation to be on murder, and even on the fact that they stole women from another community and forced them to be with them to ensure that the Roman city would continue. Most of their empire's beginnings are built on more happy notes so they can look back and be proud of it, so it's very interesting that the Romans decided to start their history full of murder, criminals, and other bad things that you wouldn't think someone would want their foundation to be known as. Well guys, that should be it for today. Thank you guys so much for coming and joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. It very much does help. Please comment down below if you know any of this, or if there's anything that you would like to add. I would love to hear anything you have to say. Also, if you have any other ideas of what I should research, please let me know, and I can start working on it right away. Once again, thank you guys so much, and have a wonderful day.